You see, Bitok, what I have said is that first I find it sad because you see, I served in government. I served in government right from the time of President Moi, President Kibaki. A sitting president does not need to go to the ground to talk to his people and threaten what government can do. No. The president is when you talk about him not just being the embodiment of the national unit, he's the preserve of our sovereignty. Okay, he's the vanguard of our sovereignty. When we say as a people, okay, when we say our president is attending, even when the US presidents were very unhappy with Gaddafi, he would still access the New York headquarters, the UN headquarters in New York, and speak his mind, even 2 hours. Fidel Castro the same, because he embodies our statehood. Personally, I may not know, but having served in several governments, I think there is a problem somewhere, and the problem is at the level of the functionaries. Because these functionaries ought not even wait for the bidding of the president to take action. And if they took decisive action, we wouldn't be seeing some of these things. Just like the things we are seeing in places like Mandera and Kapendo. They are happening because we have people on the ground who never take responsibility for the offices they hold. People are paid money. Apart from the president being president, there is also the question of accountability and responsibility by those who are paid salaries from public resources to do their job. Yes.
So actually, what's going on as we move forward? What's going on in Kapedo, the violence in Kapedo? And it seems like even the police cannot access that area. They even fear going to that area. We're losing more police than bandits, you know. And then someone was arguing the other day, then does it question the level of training of our police officers or security officers? The same thing is happening in Mandera. These guys keep penetrating our territories. Even after you said we are building a wall, there's someone who has been calling our correspondent in Mandera who has been giving me information on Mandera. They raid the whole village. They bring down boosters. And we are in a country that's sovereign. What's going on in the north and
yes,
in the other side? Yeah.
I joined our armed forces, now defense forces, when the former president Daniel Arap Moi, God bless his soul, was commander-in-chief. There is something in security operations we call having your ear on the ground. Intelligence is for the commander. Intelligence is never for the tacticians. It's never for the operatives. It is for the commander. And there is a clear chain of command for all our security and regimented forces. And that's where I will get to. If you look at the structure of our internal security forces, we had questions where people were asking whether the police were having parallel commands because you had APs, you had the regular police, then you had GSU. But by a stroke of luck, we have now a combined command, a single command. Then we have units, specialized units. Then what is happening on the ground? Let me start with Kapedo. A lot of people will ask, where is Kapendo? Kapendo is in Turkana East. But Kapedo is actually closer to Churo Amaya in Baringo. Have you been there, Bitok?
I have not been there.
I have been there myself. I've been to, on the road, there is a ranch known as Mugi Ranch, which is on the Laikipia side. Then there is a road that cuts from Mugi Ranch going all the way to Tagul Bay. And Tagul Bay. Yes, Tagul Bay. Yes, that's west. That's East Pokot.
It's East Pokot. Oh,
yes. Yeah. Then you have Amaya Valley. Amaya Valley, that is where the communities bury their hatchet when it is during the dry season. That's where the Pokot, Shuk, Karapokot, the Saburu, communities from Laikipia, and even Isiolo, that's where they come down, bury their hatchet. You will be surprised. During the dry season, Amaya River remains. It remains. Every other river doesn't dry. So there are even certain trees there, traditional trees, where they have something they call loipi. I think that's in Saburu language. That's like a kindergarten for young babies. So mothers from all communities, you'll be shocked, leave their mother, their babies there with the care of a few others. They don't fight during the dry season, because if they fight, then all of them will perish. So first, I want to disabuse the notion that these people are not intelligent, because there has been that argument. These people are wise, because if you can have a Sabur child, a Pokot child, a Chamus child, a Turkana child, in that Loipi, being taken care of by 3 or 4 mothers, whereas the other mothers go out to look for food, and then their fathers and their elder brothers are out in Suguta Valley looking for the green pasture for their large herds of animals. Are those people not wise? They understand their environment better than anybody else. Now, if you are that area, what we call the Amaya Triangle, in Laikipia it starts at a place called Lonyek. Then you go to Losuk. In the Saburu side there is Sugta. Then you go to Amaya Valley. When you are in Lonyek or Losuk, the temperature is around 35 degrees, Bitok. When you descend down to Amaya Valley, the temperature rises to 47 degrees. You know the implication of that? You know the implication?
No, not really.
Sunstroke. You can die of sunstroke. So then we will pick young men and women who have trained the police. We've joined the police. They are what we call Kababa and Kamama from Nairobi.
Kina Jaden.
Yeah, Kina Jaden. And then we take them to go and serve.
At 45 degrees.
At 45, 47 degrees. First, they've been told that kuwa askari ni kazi. It's employment. That's a notion I really dislike. And I will never, even where I have been in a position to help, I will never help anybody to join the forces. Bitok. I will not. Because that is something you commit yourself to. You know you can die. You are putting your life at risk. So having an incompetent person and a person who is not fully committed wearing a uniform to go and purport to enforce law and order, is that person is not only a danger to themselves, they are also a danger to society. And if you remember very well, 42 young men and women were slaughtered. Police officers, forget about recently, in 2012, in Suguta Valley, by bandits. By bandits. And that word bandits, I don't like using it, because when I was there, I did not see bandits. I will tell you what I saw.
What did you see?
You see, I have talked of a very expansive area. People in places like Central, Nyanza, Western will not understand. But when I talk about that, there is an area they call Kasilangwa zone. That is really occupied by the Pokots. Okay? And the only people you find there is total absence of government. What did I find there? You find Caritas International, Action Aid, Christian Children's Fund, and Save the Children. Those are the people on the ground running programs to assist our brothers and sisters there. Serikali iko wapi?
Iko Nairobi.
Iko Nairobi. You get the what we are talking about. So there is continuous and historical neglect of that area. There are no roads. Okay. Yes, I remember we in the military would go down there, go all the way to Ginyang. We construct roads, but the military can't be stationed there. It's not a static force. It will move. So after that, there will be rains, and you know the topography of that area is such that if there is heavy rain, like when we say in West Pokot, we have areas that are very high and others that are lowland, and you've seen landslides happen. So the roads again disappear. Who is supposed to maintain those roads after they've been done by the military? It's the county government or the national government. So that neglect is what makes these people feel that there is no, when you have only NGOs there, ask yourself this: how comes when the last time I was in Amaya in 2006, I was going to deal with a program by Christian Children's Fund. How comes those people are not attacked by the so-called bandits? Yeah. Because that's their livelihood. Yeah. That's their source of...
It's their government.
It's their government. In fact, I dare say this, that those non-governmental organizations hold greater sway and say in those areas than the elected politicians as well as functionaries of government. Now, then what happened? So you see, as I have said, you're talking of very expansive areas. Kiabu as a county has a very high population. But you will be shocked that Kiabu as a county is in fact lesser in size, in geographical size, than one of the sub-counties in that area.
In West Pokot?
In East Baringo.
Oh yes,
East Baringo, and yes. Then you understand the expansive size of that area. And that makes it impossible to have boots on the ground or static units of government on the ground. And even mobility is very poor. So accessibility is almost nil. Now, when people know that, there is that area, we used to call it the Kenyan AK-47 corridor. Lonyek, Losuk, Kasilangwa, Sugta, Amaya. It's called right now the counties in that region, unknown to a lot of people, have created something called the Amaya Triangle Initiative. Because the boundary of Turkana, Baringo, Laikipia, Saburu, the 4 counties converge around Sugta through Amaya all the way to Malaso. That is the upper side of Suguta Marmar. But a lot of people who talk in Nairobi, because they make themselves experts, you have security experts who have never even fired a single bullet. They've never even been to
never left Nairobi.
They've never been to those places. Some of them have risen very high up in government. So they advise government. What advice can you give about places you don't know? What you can't even talk about what people do there. So I know what people do there, and I have seen what I saw. So what happens? Then, if these people, they are all, what is their source of livelihood? Their source of livelihood is livestock. Zero farming going on there in most of the places. There was an irrigation scheme around River Amaya. There was a boarding school there done by NGOs. Government was supposed to provide security for the school deep in the valley. And I have said, the valley is, you have 45 degrees in temperature at the hottest point. So the teachers who are taken there, and unfortunately, and I know, again, who are from the other regions I've mentioned in Kenya, do you know people left even without being paid, Bitok? Because they couldn't stand the hostile environment and the weather. I mean, isn't it possible to train locals and let them handle it? Don't take people who don't understand that topography and who cannot live there. And I remember one point, an elder a Saburu elder telling me in Malaso, okay, and I was in uniform, and he said, ninyi muko hapa na hizi guo. Lakini jana wakora jangili alikuja akachukua ng'ombe. Jao, now the calves were left uko kwa ukule kwa bode. Sasa ninyi ataenda kwa kuchukua hiyo dama, hiyo jao. Now he is literally saying that the soldiers, the police from other regions of Kenya, they are not culturally attached to livestock. Yeah. So telling them to go and collect 10 calves in a valley where they were talking of 45 degrees, you think they would do that? No. It is the local home guards who again go down there.
Right. So you feel it's a protest. These people are protesting.
And the way they protest, remember now you've got communities again warring over the boundaries. Remember those areas also there are areas where there is water, there is resources, there is pasture. Others have water. And I have told you, it is only in the dry season where these communities always come together. When it rains, everybody begins to disperse, going back to there. You ask a Turkana in around Amaya, and you ask him, Ejogo, where is nyumbani? Ejogo, nyumbani wapi? You know what it is? Hapa karibu Lodwa. Knowing the distance from Kapedo to Lodwa is hundreds of kilometers. But he says his home is hapa karibu Lodwa. You know? That should tell you what those people think. So as they are going back to their region, something happens. Now, remember these Moranis have to go and marry. Mm-hmm. What is the commodity of exchange there? Is it cash money? Cows. So what do I need to go and marry?
Cows.
And so where will I get the cows?
You have to go and
yes. Sawa. So and that now when they are going back, so it is, if people who have been sent there as security officers, even county commissioners, assistant county commissioners, they know this, that it goes in a cycle. There are cycles where there is no violence. Which season are we in? In Kenya, we are in the dry season. So you expect the competition for those resources to be very high. And that neglect is what has made that there is always power play. That if your community has greater arms, firepower determines who controls access to pasture. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't find there are what people call bandits. No, I didn't see bandits there. What you find there are actually well-trained and very well organized and regimented community combat units. That's what I call them.
All right.
Yes.
Kabla sijakaribisha profesa mwenyewe naona Ole Natemana anasema Captain Wanderi is well versed of the place. He's articulating issues in a sober way. I like this great mind. Dennis Oseko, congratulations, we talk the best show with a well informed person. Mwangi wa Sami mheshimiwa wa Laikipia anasema insightful Laikipia and those counties around Amaya triangle and insecurity conflicts with bandits now and then and require national government action soonest possible. Kibet Kiptui when Ruto becomes president, may it tap into such knowledge to people like Captain. He should be our Kibicho, inshallah. Lawe Kiulaga Zama Captain Wanderi knows my county Baringo. Then Dennis Oseko, the guy is fully informed. Well done, K. Ngeno. I really concur fully. I've worked in both Pokot and Turkana, and I'm glad someone is giving facts as it is. Live from Kadanga, South Muranga County, show ikolit. You're in Nzioka Senior. Kansala Tarus, naona ameingia pia. Stephen Barngetwin, also from the audio, General Bitok, it warrants attention of ICC. Did I hear him say he was a specialist when he was? The evidence is coming out slowly. Reviving of ICC cases. Amosi.
Wow.
Wala ni arogosho.
Lo kumio mono.
Umerara sana.
No, safari bana imekuwa moja. Unajua saa hizi ya hibernation. Si unajua maisha yetu ya Nairobi. Kuamka saa 9 kulala saa 5. Sasa when I get the opportunity to hibernate, I really take it.
Unatandika.
Hata kama ni siku 3, I take it fully. So leo ilikuwa one of those days.
Ukarara kabisa.
Vizuri. I'm telling you. Unajua kwanza jana what I saw, I realized hata mimi nataka kuwa president. Hata mimi nitasimama because I think politics has attracted all idiots. Kila mtu na mimi unajua
you're one of the idiots.
Mimi niko na judo. Unaona? Is that black belt? That one can help. Unajua kwa sababu rally sasa hii ukienda rally, kitu ya kwanza lazima ukae rada. Wewe unajua wewe ni security. Oh my goodness. Wewe you are best placed.
Professor, you don't have to worry. You just hire me as a security man.
No, kijana wako kumfikia kabla umfikie alikuwa ameguzwa. Unaona kitu mpia ilifanya. Alikarada. So I think hata mimi. I think politics has attracted everyone right now. Because jana I was so ashamed kuona news with my son. You know, he's just turning at teenage now. Sasa ako 13 hapo. I could not explain how judokas made it to TV. You know, na nimekuwa nikimwambia study hard, be a lawyer. You know,
dawa ni viongozi.
Akaniuliza baba, kwa nini ampia nai? Kaambia, you know, for the first time I'm proud to be a comedian. I'm walking with my head held up high. Because finally sanity has shown to us. I felt so good. You know?
And at least you're in the business of making people laugh and relax. Those fellows actually left everybody tensed and angry.
In fact, you're fighting with a body right next there.
Yes.
Do you know how blind you have to be? Kupigana na mwili iko hapo. Familia iko hapo. Aibu ilikio.
Hata unaweza ingia kwa sanduku ndani bwana.
Hata aibu kubwa ilikuwa ni tunazika the wrong people.
You can actually imagine. Ule mtu alikuwa pale kwa sanduku angeamka by stroke of luck. Akuta watu wakipigana.
Anarudi tena vizuri sana, anaamua.
In fact unaweza sema nirudi kwa kaburi ni sasa nisipeleke kabisa nijipeleke. Because it is abnormal. You know, there was a time lawyers brawled in Bomas.
Yes.
I had a very big problem with my daughter who was in high school. And she kept asking me, Dad, I thought you said you are honorable professions. You call yourself learned Fred. Why were you fighting? And I had to tell her, no, my dear, we disagreed. We were disagreeing loudly. But she pretended I saw people were throwing papers and kicks at each other.
I saw it.
And for the first time, I told her, but you know, I'm not just a lawyer, I'm also a security person.
Yeah, so I had to intervene.
Yes, you know, that's why I was trying to say to run away from that.
From the blame yourself. You're trying to exonerate yourself.
Yes, wow, but you see, this is the example we are showing our children.
Yes.
And, you know, because of that, I don't want you to cover the you have your camera. I want you to show.
This is your camera.
This one. I only want you to show there. You see that? Those pictures.
The blame game.
The blame game.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you've seen that.
Yeah.
Then I want you to see. This is something I wrote way back in the year 2008. 2008.
Yeah.
Yes.
The life of an expatriate.
Okay.
Surviving.
Is it this one?
No.
No, sorry. This one. This is what I wrote in 2008.
Better management of schools.
Several
needed.
tips for globe-trottling professions. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And why did I write this? Because I've been lucky. I say it's luck. I've done very many things in life, and I've not lived for long. I've been participated in the management of public schools for a whole 20 years. From 1998, I was first appointed a board member in a public school by, I think, Professor Sam Ogeri or the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. That time you'd received the letter directly from the minister.
Allah.
And so I know a few things about strikes in schools, about misbehavior by teenagers. And you're talking, you see, they are seeing what adults are doing.
Yes.
Okay, they are seeing that people cannot engage in dialogue to drive a point. They know that people are using the force, the reason of force to drive an agenda, not the force of reason. So that's the example we are giving to our children. And you see, the reason I brought this is because we are facing the similar situation. That in 2008, 2009, there were massive strikes in schools. I had just served 10 years in the board. Okay. Then came 2011, 2012, another spate of strikes going all the way to 2014, and a lot of arson in schools. Then the cycle has come back again.
Yes.
But you know what our CS Cabinet Secretary for Education is suggesting? He's suggesting returning Kiboko. Now, the question I keep asking myself is, you have bureaucrats employed by government. People who are expected to have knowledge because they are holding PhDs, they are holding this. You see, yesterday I tuned into a few media stations, just flipping, and I was shocked. I'm seeing Dr. So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, talking about education management. And the first question I would ask myself, which institution did you ever manage? Do you even manage a kindergarten? I have managed public schools. When I wrote this article, I was a board member in 2 schools, and I was chair of one which has had 546 students. Okay? That school got banned in 2011 by rioters. And I was like, hey, I thought I had done very well. And I thought I'm using the experience I've gained elsewhere to manage the institution. And I saw there's something I haven't done. I completely changed tact. The way I manage that institution. First, let us ask ourselves, the minister and his people at the county level now appoint boards of governors or boards of management in schools. Bitok, are you a member of any board of management?
In my former primary school, yes.
In a secondary school?
No.
HAMO, are you?
In a secondary school.
Are you a board member?
Yes.
You are a board member?
Yes.
Because you can contribute something.
Yes.
You have some knowledge. Now, what is the caliber of the other people you are serving with?
Well, mostly available people. It is. Are you there? Where uko around?
Retirees.
Because the first question inakuwaga, are you available for meetings every Monday? Yes. Bas, huyu ndio tunaweka. Huyu ndio
retirees. Okay?
Huyu ndio shamba.
Huyu ndio shamba. Tayari unajua, the moment you tell yourself I'm retiring, hata Mungu anaweza kunyang'anya hewa. Because exactly umemaliza kazi. Retirement is a very dangerous word. And those are the people we have taken to
reabsorb them into us.
Na ukumbuke alikuwa wapi? Alikuwa Ministry of Health. Mahali alifundishwa ukifika kitu ya kwanza ni nini? Toa koti. Weka hapa. Na enda rudhuri, fanya biashara zako. Utarudia koti jioni.
You now begin to see where the problem starts. So this was the genesis of my piece, because I was asked by the church, by the local PCA church, to chair the school board, but I also gave them conditions. If you nominate people because they can say Mungu asifiwe and they are available, I will refuse to participate. Because I'd never want to serve. Let me shock you. 20 years I have served in school boards. I signed less than 5 checks. In those 2, I can count them because I have the copies. I think there are 4. Because I don't need to go doing what is called micromanaging an institution. I am an intelligent person. I need to set up systems and processes to tell me what is happening in the institution. But let me go back to what happened after the strikes and the banning of the school. I knew something is not right here. Then let me ask you, Hamo, have you ever seen students banning a library?
Never. They don't even go to libraries.
Where do they burn? They burn
Dormitories.
Dormitories and
Yes,
the
yeah.
dining hall. So where would the problem be, Bitok? Where would the problem be? You are dealing with gastronomical issues, issues of the stomach.
Period.
You are dealing
Ulcers.
with issues of the stomach. Now, what is the dormitory? It's a place you sleep.
Yeah.
Now, when you left home, you've seen the American general who said if you want to start a good life, you start by having
spreading
spreading your bed.
in the morning.
Now I will change you the notion. It's not about because that's the first task you complete in the day. That's the American version. Let me tell you the British and the Commonwealth version. The human body and the human mind. The human mind is the largest organ. Maybe not in terms of size, but in terms of functionality.
Yes.
If you dress nicely, like you woke up dressed nicely, you see Bitok is smart, you're smart.
Yes.
So what do you feel about yourself?
Great.
Your mind registers that I am okay.
Oh, yes.
Now, when you go back home, what do you go home back to do? To rest.
Yeah.
So you already left a well-prepared place to rest. So your mind is also composed. In other words, making a bed is a game of the mind.
Yeah.
And so these students know that after days 12, you need to go and rest your miserable bones. Do you rest them on broken metal?
No.
So you see what I'm talking about. That tells you need to change tact in the way you manage public institutions.
In fact, there is a new wave that teachers need to be trained in paramilitary techniques. I mean, for security.
Exactly. And the reason is because the people prescribing solutions don't even know what they're talking about. A teacher is a professional.
Yes.
You say there's a comedian.
Yes.
Where huendi kupiga watu?
No.
Why should a teacher fight students? Bitok, I will tell you, it's a lie because I solved the solution of the strikes very easily.
So what's the solution?
Now, I have talked about initially the caliber of managers you're employing. Number 2, they are the pain areas. And I have mentioned there is food, which is gastronomical issues. And there is also the aura or the rest. Why do you call a restaurant? Because it has the aura of rest.
Yeah.
Even you want to sleep in a
mental
hygienic,
break.
Yes, you need to sleep in a good place.
Yes.
Do you know, you good people, that a majority of the people who are served in school boards of management do not know where the students they are supposed to manage sleep?
Hawajai pita hapo kwa ofisi. Naona administration broke.
You understand?
Ukipita
they have never passed. So I had one rule. I would set the meetings, especially where I was board chair, at 9:30. Believe you me, I would be in the school at 8:45. And I would never enter the principal's office for Madazi and tea fast. By the time the principal is calling the meeting or the other members have arrived, I have surveyed the entire school compound, entered each and every dormitory. And I am the chairman of the board.
Yeah.
So there is no school mistress or boarding master who is going to tell me that the girls or the boys' dormitory is clean or this.
I
know. I saw. I saw. And so I know what I am managing.
Yes.
And I understand it. And I understand. Sometimes the boys told me in a school that, chairman, it is good you have come. We have 4 bathrooms. We are now 500. We are supposed to be sleeping, to be showering here. And you have to wait for somebody. And I told the principal, so how much money does it take you to build an extra row of bathrooms? The boys also told me that, there are those in Form 4. I mean, they are growing, isn't it?
Yes.
Walikuja hapo wakiwa watoto wako na dev. Do you think they want to expose themselves to the youngsters who have come in Form 1? Simple logic. Simple logic. So I told the principal, so we can have bathrooms on the other side for these jamas wenye sasa karibu wanakuwa wazazi. So that they can shower in their comfort. Yeah. Now, are those not practical and simple solutions? Then I go to the kitchen. Number 1, these students will be served breakfast if it's on a Saturday. I don't want to be sitting in the principal's office niletewe kuku madazi. Mimi nataka kunywa ile chai watoto wanakunywa. You get?
Yeah.
So that means the caterers and the matron know that chairman, okay, as they would call me, captain, wakili, chairman, that I can get to that school any day, anytime unannounced. And I will go directly. And I knew the cooks, all of them.
Yes.
By name. Because if these cooks make bad food, you have a riot. If these cooks give children food that is not adequate, you have a riot. I mean, we can't appoint sensible people who have the energy to do such simple things as board managers.
I think as a society we have complications. Ndio maana Ngong Road tuko na taa. Yes. Lights za barabara na polisi wanane hapo nje. Ndio wanafanya nini? Ama wao ndio wako na battery. Labda wao ndio wamebeba battery. Unajua tuambiango tu ukweli. Do you have complicating things? I mean, ni sasa kama saa hii barabara sijui nani ameamua anytime kuna kasnalap kadogo we have to overlap. Lazima tutoke kwa line yao. Automatic. Niingie kwa line ya watu wengine tufinyane. Ndio
unajua ni kwa nini professor? It is something called my car mentality.
Oh yes,
my car.
People of my car.
Now, yes. You know, when I was in uniform, you know, we would be told at the Pangani roundabout, you know, we in military uniform, we want to go somewhere. Yes. Our timings are very clear. Yes. And, you know, the police would clear for us. Sometimes we would do it ourselves. I would tell the askari, where sergeant, shukeni hii jam mtoe. So even the matatu guys, they know that, or even the people with private cars. But you've never known a Kenyan with a private car. A private car, gari yangu.
Inaitwa my car.
My car.
Umeuza my car.
It's the very epitome of ufika. Actualization. Mimi nimeomoka. Mtu akiwa na gari. And then this, you would expect that the people wameomoka ni wale at least akili yao iko juu kidogo. Now let us ask ourselves, you are talking about a corporal. Why should the corporal askari alipata grade D awe anafungulia barabara mtu ya degree? When wewe mtu ya degree hujui kwamba ukiingia intersection na mwingine aingia mtakwama hapo masaa 5. Yaani wewe unaendesha gari kama akili iko kwa mfuko. If you just give the other person 2 minutes to go, hata wewe utafika. But sasa, you know that my car. Yes. You know there is some level of hedonism. You know, kama there is some pressure. Umekuwa pumped up na pressure. You know, sometimes when you had, I remember the former president Daniel Arap Moi one time saying that you can be a professor, you know, so professor, but utanyoroshwa na corporal. But that is what is happening to our society. But let me finish on school management. Niwaambie sasa what else I discovered. You know, we have this thinking that those students are they are kids and they are not wise. And this is a solution I want to prescribe to the minister. Okay? Because it is a real source of skirmish in schools. You were in a school in Form 1.
Yes.
Then you went to other classes and other classes. A student in Form 4 today is only left with 2 months in the school. Kweli bitok?
Kweli.
One in Form 3 is left with basically with 1 year. So if you have a project in the school, you want to start a project in 2021 or 2022, who is going to use those facilities you are building? Is it the one who is living in Form 4 or the one who is joining in Form 1?
Yeah, Form 1.
But you have managers who cannot think. So if I want a school bus or a school generator, the guys in Form 4 are only going to use it for a few months. Yeah. So should they pay the 20,000 like every other parent?
No.
And you think these students are not wise? They are very wise. And I would sit down with the teachers and parents and the students themselves. Yeah. And I will tell the ones in Form 1, tumenunua bus. Bus ni milioni 6. Wala wako Form 1 watatumia hiyo bus miaka ngapi?
4.
Wala wako Form 2 watatumia miaka ngapi? 3. Form 3 mwaka moja ama 2. Form 4 1 year. So who should pay less?
Was it Form 4?
Logic. Yes. Does that require what does that require? It simply requires a very small skill of management. But as we say, the caliber of guys we got, and that is why in 2014, when there was another wave of banning of schools, I had become an expert because I knew the pain areas. These students know that their parents paid fees. These students know that I'm only going to be here for 9 months. Kwa nini unaniambia nilipe 8,000 ya bus?
You know,
ama 10,000.
Bitok. You know, hii kuna shida kubwa sana. Our education was rigged from the word go. Hey, makosa ilianzia wapi? When we made education simply for grading. Na ndio maana tulikuwa tunangangana sana. Watoto watatu number 1 2 3 tunawabeba juu. Ukipata A, we knew you are a doctor. Usituambie wewe unataka tunafikiria kitu kingine. You are a doctor. We know. But you uko kwa hospitali, you are a doctor, but your heart is a mortician. Unataka kuona dead bodies. No wonder we were rigged. If the education was only for grading,
yes,
and nothing else. I went to a school, hiyo Greenstead, hapo iko Nakuru. After nimemaliza high school, immediately nikaitwa, they wanted to give me a scholarship. Sikuwa nimejua wanataka kulipisha gapi. So nilipoenda, they wanted to give me a scholarship ya rugby. I was playing rugby then. Kufika, and I saw what was happening. Everybody felt. Nikapelekwa kwa one of the classes. Unasikia huyu is good in mathematics, huyu is a rugby player, and they are all celebrated the same way. So it's a class of peers. Wacha nikwambie, kuja kwetu ujaribu kusema ati wewe ni mnoma rugby, hata uende ushinde America urudi,
yes,
bila hiyo bado tukuona wewe ni stupid, because whatever you are good at, yes, was not vilified. Iliwekwa chini, college haitoshi.
I'm very happy, Professor, you said.
That's why we have a problem. Watu unasema mtu ako na A, PhD,
yes,
anaifanya tu ndo aweze kupanda grade, atoke G aende F. Na ni shilingi
year in and year out.
Yes.
Mtu wako kwa street. Let me tell you some of the best old boys I have from that school.
Yes.
I have one called Kimani. He's in Australia. One of our best artists. I went to Nyeri County one day during a governor session when he was meeting the youth. And the governor thought another governor competitor has arrived, because the fellows I met there, and some of them, because what you said, because you have a bit of exposure, I realized every time we're only giving the best number one. I started doing the reverse: best musician,
yes,
best dressed, best footballer. And those guys, a few of them have joined the police force. So I have a few OCSs who salute me and tell you, na mkubwa ulitusaidia. When I started having guest of honor to kuleta kwa shule, you think I would take a professor?
No.
No, sorry for professor. I would take you.
Again, we are busy.
You know, I know the caliber of the students I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So mimi nataka kuleta. Do you know I used to take even police sergeants, and I tell them I would request their seniors, later wacha wakuje na uniform. OCS later inspector akuje na. So the students learn to see the things that they can practically do. Not telling them that you want A's, but how many people have A's in this country? And what do we have with what are our graduates doing?
Isi wanakata saizi wanatengeneza, wanafagia town. Inaitwa kuokoa. Inaitwa nini? Kazi mtaani.
Alafu wanatabia na brown envelopes. You know, and we know what pays best in this country: art, music, sports, internationally.
Niulize, ni shule ngapi? Si we have career fairs,
yes.
Ni wapi university gani ishaita hata Mariga? Iongeleshe Mariga mtu anatengeneza 10 million a week.
Yes.
Baka pesa yake hezi ekewa mwezi mzima, itakuwa too much. Analipa weekly kama mtu wa mjengo. Ndio pesa mingi. But you've never tapped into his brain.
Yes.
Umuuliza, how do you manage? Mimi najua kuna mtu sasa ukimpatia 20,000 inamuongelesha town. Lakini Mariga unamlipa 4 million na bado ana show up to exercise asubuhi mapema. Hakuna pesa ya kwenda Dubai kesho, lakini ataenda. Ataamua, hey, niko na game.
Yes.
Tap into that brain. But you're not tapping.
And discipline. You know that
let Professor Degwa.
That is why we get it all wrong, you know, because our focus is on ourselves.
Yes.
You know? And I remember asking the students, what do you feel about the school? And they would tell me, Chairman, you know, this school is ours. And one student asked me, Chairman, hii shule iko na ng'ombe. Sisi ndio saa zingine tunalisha hii ng'ombe.
Yes.
Tunaona mkiuza. Kwa nini hamwezi kutuchijia moja? There are several bulls.
Yes.
You know, I got very challenged, and I told the principal one day, look, mwalimu, hii dama moja hatutauza.
Bas.
We will fatten it.
Yes.
Today, Professor HAMO and Bitok.
Yes.
If you go to Mwero High School, which was
Kuna
a former detention camp.
Captain.
Yeah?
Yes, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
We are great.
Wageni wazuri sana.
Asante.
Wasalamie.
Tumesalimika.
Now, I love the way you've analyzed the issues in schools.
Yes.
And being a young person and also being somebody who has been to a few schools lately, I would also want to maybe add and say, don't you think that also the problems that a child in Eldoret would not be the same problems that a child in Nairobi is experiencing? Yet the policies we have by the government are same throughout the country. And so when you go to one place and compare the things the students are going through, as much as there are similar issues, the ones that Mgeni amezungumzia, there are others that are so particular to that particular place. And you find solutions won't be there, because actually most of the time when you talk to might be there's a school that has rioted and the parents are called, and you listen to the solutions that are being given against those that have been given by the government, you notice that most policies zinatoka kwa serikali zikikuja shuleni. Not the other way, whereby we have people now from the ground telling the government, this is what is happening here and we would want you to do this for us. And so one of the problems I've just observed of late is that the solutions should be tailored for particular places, like for particular regions, because whatever we're going through in this region might not be the same thing that another region is going through.
Okay, having a bottom-up approach instead of bottom-up.
Exactly. Uh-huh. Exactly. So even in the currently we are rolling out CBC. Yeah. And my imagination is that I wished we had the teachers giving the policy, proposing the policies, asking the teachers, what actually are you facing as a teacher? Asking even the school environment, people, the subordinate staff. I believe that we have such an approach, then we can get better solutions than somebody mwenye ameketi kule Nairobi akisema, now this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. When you talk to the teachers, they tell you this thing is not practical because it doesn't apply to that particular student.
Vitu kwa ground.
Yeah, vitu kwa ground is different. Just in addition, just to add on it, yes. you find a situation now where might be the recent past we've had the minister coming, labda anaingia kwa shule mahali within 20 minutes, fire principal and all that, and it looks as if they are working. But what can you do in a school in 20 minutes? Walking to a school in 20 minutes, the minister is saying, labda naenda leo Kiambu County, and anataka kuvisit 20 schools in a day.
And so to fire people they don't know.
So you reach there, you tell somebody, hey, my friend, this is bullshit, I want to fire you, go home. But you don't know what that person has been going through.
Yes.
Yeah, so I feel as if we are in a country whereby the policies are coming from the wrong people. And as much as somebody can be a professor, I might beat them within my environment because I understand my environment better. Or somebody, you find somebody who's been in management for 20 years. They would understand management better than a professor when I'm a mpaka kule juu.
Right.
He's absolutely right. You know?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, MC Kani.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's absolutely right.
Asante sana, kwa na siku njema.
Salamia HAMO.
Kabisa nimesalamika. In fact, it is important that as a professor I have a right of reply. Kuna kitu hapo tumegogwa mara kadhaa. Ni vizuri kuteta. Kwa sababu the truth is, as a professor, when you get your first degree, unaendaga kijijini ukiambia watu, hata wewe ndio unapatia watu ideas because it's your first degree. You know so much of so little. When you become a professor, you know so much of one thing and you understand kumbe hii dunia ni kubwa sana. That's why our biggest problem, and this is the challenge, our education system, I said it is rigged. Why? Because you are never taught to be curious. Ulikuwa ukiuliza mwalimu a question, anakuambia that one will not come to the exam, you're wasting our time. Tuende kwa kitu kingine. And then ukiingia kwa dunia unaambiwa be curious, come up with ideas, lakini you are never trained to be curious.
Yes.
Sasa shida yetu ndio maana tunatengeneza blanket solutions. Saizi kuna makaratasi mengi, policy papers.
Yes.
We never heard of this document you wrote. Do you know why? It is not important for us now. It is not making money for me.
Yes.
Yeah, ndio maana tutaiweka mali kule bajazo. Do you know what we'll read? The pulse.
Yes.
Na kuoneshwa Vera Sidika amefikisha wapi mwili.
Nilikuwa naitwanga insider.
Hiyo tutasoma sana, but policies.
Na nani alipiga nani?
Yeah. That's why and you're trained. Hata ukienda kwa hiyo ministry, you give a professor job ndio hiyo. Lakini curtailing ile iko pale. Hata unaambiwa ukikuwa pembe sana, tumeona wengi wakikuja wakienda. Wewe fuata maagizo. Don't think too much, Don't think too much. And it is the training.
Na hiyo kitu umekalia ni pesa.
Yeah, kumbuka.
Hiyo kitu umekalia
tafadhali,
ni pesa.
Jenga vizuri.
Yeah.
Saizi with all the brilliance you have, if you're taken into government right now, I give you 2 years tukuone na kesi. Akia na isikupenda kwako because it is rigged. And I'm telling you, so the only solution now is, and I think hii hanga tuko nayo imetusaidia na kitu moja. Tumefika hiyo level ya tuko kwa ukuta. No wonder Kenyans right now are not paying attention to the, jana uliona furaha nilikuwa nayo. Nilipoona watu badala watoke waende wapigane, walikuwa wanapiga makofi. Wewe nini wakiona MP wao wakipigana.
Wanaona movie.
That was and I want us to be Kenyans tukue hivyo. To stand back. Si wewe ndio unajua siasa. Wewe ndio unakulaga pesa ya siasa. Si wewe ndio unafungua barabara hapa hujai experience jam. Si unakuja na siren. Sasa si hata wewe pigana. Wacha tukuone.
Pumzika kidogo hata sisi.
Yeah, tukimaliza
labda glucose.
Yeah, because tumelan. In Kenya if you are successful you'll be punished. Ukikuwa chojo saa hii ni kuwe mnoma biashara. KRA wananipigia hata watanitumia message. Kuna kitu tulisahau ya 2016.
In fact they tell you dear you know
alafu anaongea rudely after that,
you know. Na sasa you know there's always a question I've asked myself.
Yes,
you know, I have a problem with bureaucrats who sit in the office too much.
Yes.
I also sat in offices, but I have done a lot of businesses in this country.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that I studied law, I have owned matatus in Nairobi. I have so I know how they work.
Oh my goodness.
I have owned a bar in Gikomba.
Guy.
Not along Gong Road.
No, Gikomba.
In Park Road, I've had a pool table. In Kirinyaga Road, I've had a spare part shop. I have tried everything. Unajua ukizaliwa kwa umaskini,
yeah,
you hustle your way up by
anything
whatever means, by whatever way. You know? And sasa, you know, you have somebody sitting somewhere writing you a letter. Because I see now, because I also consult for people, somebody writes you a letter telling you owe this, we want you to pay this.
Yeah.
In the same week, you receive another letter from the same government department,
yes,
asking you other things. You know what I told that taxpayer the other day? You don't work for these people.
No.
These guys are just lazy bureaucrats sitting in offices, just churning out letters, sounding big titles. Saa nne ifike wakunywe chai, saa saba they stroll, they go for lunch. They do not know what it means to create a business in this country.
Yeah.
Professor, to have an SME in Kenya,
yes,
to have a bureau, photocopy and typing and cyber cafe. Do you know you require 7 licenses? 7, and that's in Nairobi County.
A catalog of
Yes, 7
licenses.
I have a neighbor, a young lady, and she told me this place is impossible.
Yes.
Her husband is a police officer, and she told me that the only reason I haven't closed is because they fear my husband. Because the 2 licenses, I have 5. 2 are impossible to obtain. And now it was in November last year, and she was telling me, since COVID closed, they still require me to pay for 1 month for the whole year. You know, then you ask yourself, this guy who comes, he has no reason,
yes,
no rationale, no logic. You expect somebody to pay 20,000 to use the license for 2 months, whereas business has been closed. You get? Those are 7 licenses.
Yes.
To run a food processing unit in this country, because I have people who are asking and I take them through the steps. We've tried for some. I've been trying for somebody to get all those things for the last 4 months.
And
it requires 11 pieces of paper. Now, you are asking somebody out of school, out of college to do that. Then after the business peaks, it is true, yes. Every 100 shillings you make in this country, 30 shillings belongs to the government by law. This is the KRA tax. But then that person engaging in that policy should know that there is incubation period for business. You are asking young people to innovate using technology. We are here because we're using technology. Then we say Bitok is an influencer, so we charge him some tax.
Digital
taxation of the digital media and the media platforms. It's an area I've studied. There is a lot. You see, the only thing that people are seeing is the 3 of us here. They don't know there is something happening in the back office. They can't see.
They can't see all this.
Yes. And there is some input. So in that input, there is a value chain.
Yes.
So when you tax the end product, it means you expect that along the way, there were some inputs.
Yeah.
So you only see the end product. But you don't know what goes in. What Professor HAMO did to create it, there was a script writer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There were editors involved. Okay. There is a platform media involved.
Yes.
And that's, getting into it. And what shall we do because of that? You know what we'll do? We'll create content and then stream it in other countries where there is sense that shows people that you need to nurture talent first before you even think of taxing it. Because you don't tax, you don't cut the tree branches for taxes. No, you wait for the fruit to mature.
Kula fruit.
Na
uache mti iendelee kumeza.
Na ujue kwamba hiyo mtu inatumia fertilizer. Inalimiwa.
Yes.
Inataka bolea. Inataka pesticide. Sio kwamba wewe umeona tu mti unasema sasa wacha nikate hii branch. Serious?
You know a good friend of mine nyumbani huko Nakuru. Ako na kinyozi. Na hiyo kinyozi haina, si unajua one space ni ya vio.
Yes.
Vio. The rest of the part ni ya kuweka licenses.
Yes.
Sawa, zimewekwa huku juu. Yaani hata ana picha moja unajua kitabu ilikuwa kwa kinyozi kuna picha. Yes. Hata ya nio ya kuonesha picha ambazo ukoshua utapata hiyo haircut. But iko. Saizi hakuna hiyo nafasi. Ni kaju. Baka akaniambia saizi ni kama drug dealing. Unakuwa peddler.
Yes.
Na kinyozi ujuane na lawyer, polisi, ndio survive kwa soko.
Neema,
kuna mtu wako
National Construction Authority.
Niko na mtu wangu wa stima. Naongeaga na yeye ndio nijue kama wanakata next week.
It is I tell you, the few months I have been going around. I have one challenge.
Yes.
For whoever, I don't know whether it is the current president or the one who will come next.
Yeah.
This country is going to grind to a halt. You cannot tax some people into poverty so to make others prosperous. You can't. You cannot expect a young person, a young graduate out of school, as we were saying.
Yes.
How many things do you think, papers you think you require even to apply for a job? Help, clearance, what? All those things cost money. Even to go to a lawyer, have the form for EACC commissioned is money. I do it for free for anybody, for graduates. In fact, what I have done is told all of them, since you will keep applying for jobs, kuja na hiyo form. Mimi nakupigia form nyingi muhuri.
Beba hizo
enda we ukijaza tu. Because I understand the pain these young people have to go through. This requires money. Somebody has already spent 10,000 even before applying for a job which he or she is not sure to get. Simple licenses, very difficult, But look at it. Government creates something called a multi-agency team for government to deal with organized crime, tax evasion, money laundering, and the threat of terrorism. Okay? It's good for prevention, for tackling crime. But what is the source of the crime? It's lack of livelihood.
Yes.
So a sensible person would then have created a similar task force, bring the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Agriculture, the Trade Ministry, bring them together and create a small unit, a team that meets at both county level, national level, to talk about the business environment. Because without enterprise and innovation, the youth in this country will remain down. And I want to give you talked about the licenses.
Yes.
I want to give you now a practical example. From Naivasha to Kitengela is a distance of about 110 kilometers. Utapitia how many counties? Utapitia Nakuru, Kiambu,
Nyandarua.
Nyandarua
pale kidogo,
alafu Kiambu, Nairobi, Kajiado, Machakos, then Kajiado. Hizo ni county ngapi? A distance of now Bitok. You want to buy things. So you bought something in Naivasha. You paid parking to Nakuru County government. Kuja simama hapo soko Mjinga, utalipa Nyandarua.
Nyandarua county.
Yes, ingia hapa Limuru ama usimame anywhere along the road Kikuyu. Utalipa Kiambu. Toka hapo ingia Nairobi. utalipa.
Nairobi, NMS.
Then Machakos,
Lipa Machakos.
utalipa. Then Kitengela, utalipa.
Ukiingia
Let me ask you a
chini.
question. You know, even as we talk about trade and investment in this country, are we making laws? Do we audit the type of laws we make and whether they make any sense to business? The best gift, perhaps, if you were to take my advice, President Uhuru Kenyatta would do, if I were him in 18 months left, is to really focus on that business, enterprise, and innovation.
And the question is, even as you mentioned that, Dr. then I'll give it to Wanderi. Captain, you mentioned about advice. A lot of people would wonder who sits around the president, because the decisions that they make, policy decisions, you'd sit back, even as a person who has never stepped in a class, and ask yourself, so what actually advises this man? When you look at Kibaki never spoke. You could never see Kibaki on the public domain, but you could see what he's doing. You could see people around him speaking, ministers and all that were shaping policy. You could see policy decisions that were made. Kibaki never took so much loans to finance a budget. Actually, never took to finance budgets. He took to finance projects. Money directly going to a project. Took a super highway. Projects directly. The budgets were financed by local collections a larger time. Today, we even have to go and borrow extra money to fill up the budget. You mentioned something which is very fundamental. I remember yesterday, Sir Eric Mwangi from Maridadi Motor, the CEO, he was talking about business, how licensing works. And and even look at devolution, it does not serve to make the life of Mwananchi easier. It does continue to increase the burden. You're giving us more taxmen and more crooks, government crooks on the way. You need a license if you're doing a business today and you want to, maybe like you're saying, you want to transition through counties. You need license if you're living in Nairobi, a license in Nairobi. When the license ya Nakuru, uingia license ya labda bahati mbaya uingia diversion, uingia Kericho County ulipe na unaenda Kisumu ama Eldoret. By the time you're done with your journey, probably you've lost almost 30% of your income that you're getting in. And you wonder, why do you have so much duplication in the ways the government system works? And the president, like you said, you're saying, if the president listens to me, do you think the president is surrounded by the wrong people if this guy does not listen completely?
No, he's not surrounded by wrong.